So hello everyone, welcome to yet another live with THiNC Institute of Design. So as we have promised, today we will be discussing about the Uceed previous year questions, non-verbal reasoning questions. We have already had a previous session, I think somewhere around the last month. So with the design entrance exams that's around the corner, be it NID, NIFT, Uceed, NID being the first one, it's very important to practice the previous year questions to get a hang of what exactly could be the things that you could be asked around. Okay, so for that, we're having this particular session. For everyone who is watching us in YouTube, please note you can join our Zoom session. If you want to get the link for the same, you can contact us at the number that's provided in the live chat box, 8086 111 933. Just have to send a message. Okay, so the NID notifications have come and the last dates are closing in. Within a couple of days, the NID would be closing up, the NID registration would be closing up. So please do not miss that out, everyone. Please do not wait for 19th. Please finish it off by 16th. Okay. And we have the curiosity quizzes also that we conduct on every Sundays at YouTube at 6:15 p.m. So please know that you do take part in that too. Okay, so I think that would be it. I would not delay it any much further. We also have our new batches that would be beginning from the 23rd of December. We have hybrid online batches that will be starting exclusively for NID, NIFT, and UC 2023 aspirants. Okay, so further details about that, if you want, you can get at these numbers that are provided, 8086 111 Okay, so that would be it. Without any much delay, I will be handing over the session to our faculty, Chaitanya sir. Chaitanya sir, am I audible?
Yes, am I audible?
Yeah, great. I think you can continue. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Suraj. All right, so before I just begin, I've shared my screen host, so you can just take care of that. Before I begin, I would like to tell everyone that the best way to stay updated with all sorts of things regarding to design entrance exams is to subscribe to the THiNC Institute YouTube channel. You will get very frequent updates there and pretty good tips and tricks how to solve these questions. Okay. So the non-verbal reasoning part for YouTube, for Uceed and Seed and even NID and NIFT are questions where they don't ask you to do something creative. Rather, they try to understand how good you are at logical reasoning, right? Specifically non-verbal reasoning. Those questions can be from several different topics, but what our institute has done is that they have very selectively, nicely categorized these topics into certain different categories, and that helps us understand like which question belongs to which topic. And the more practice we do with those sort of topics, the better we get at handling those sort of questions. They can be figure transformation, there can be surface counting, how many surfaces is in this particular shape. There can be something like pattern making, that this is a paint splat, and if you drag a spatula across it, what sort of a paint pattern will it make? Or this is a paper cut, a toy of some sort. If you rotate it very fast, what sort of a design will it make? Then there is shape formation, that if we take this cube, we cut it in a certain way, what sort of shape will it result? And there are many others like part tracing, shadows. So what I'm going to do is today, I'm just going to give you a brief of what Uceed questions look like and how they feel. So, and remember, if you join these classes, it will be very easy for you to understand these questions very quickly. So for example, this question number 3 of UC 2022, they did not, I'll just show it to you very quickly. They did not have any sort of text along with the question. You can just see it here. There's no text. So the question looks like this. And you are thinking like, how can I possibly understand this question? Like what exactly has happened here? Basically, there is a code going on. I think that much is obvious to all of you. What is the code becomes very interesting. So if I just try to take this, for example, if I just try to take this and attach it with this, I do get an A, right? Which I want for the third one. If I try to take this, but the second one, if I try to take and attach it with the first one, I do not get an R. Even if I flip it horizontally, I get an R, right? So both the first and the second one are fine, but they don't have a common rule. The first one attached just like that, the second one attached after flipping. But what about the third one? Does the third one attach? It does not, and it does not give us the required text that we want. Even if we flip it, still does not. Like it is giving us something completely random, which we do not want. So in this case, you will have to understand that there is some sort of figure transformation happening, but it is not happening in the way that we initially think. So if you just run your mind a little, you will understand that to get the first one, they have actually, what they've done is they've made a relationship between the first letter and the third letter of the second word, the second letter and the second letter of the second word, and the third letter of the first word and the first letter of the second word. So let me just see whether this theory works out or not. So what I'll do is I'll take this, but if I attach it, nothing happens. But if I flip it, I end up getting an A. Right? Same thing with this. Let me try. And the good part here is that we are using the same rule for all of them. If I flip it and attach to the second one, I get it. Right? And if I do that for this one as well, I should be able to get a T. I'm going to flip it horizontally, and we get what we required in the third answer as the answer of the first one, right? But whether you have to flip it horizontally, vertically, this you need practice for this, right? And that practice can only come if we practice together and we practice these questions categorically. Very quickly, let me just see whether it works in the second category as well. So first will be attached to the fourth one. Yes, it will give me a T. Yes, it will give me a T. The second one should be attached to the third one, right? Sorry about that. Yeah. I am getting an E. And I think you guys can understand that this would give us an X here, and this would again give us a T, right? Any of you, whoever has questions, it will be better if you, like, there has been a chat on the YouTube live chat. You can just click on that, join the Zoom, and then you can ask your questions here so that everybody can be informed by your questions, right? Okay, so Himanshu, you feel free to join our YouTube this thing, right? Our Zoom chat. You have the link right there on the YouTube live chat. Okay, so what will be the answer here? Let me just quickly try to see whether I can find the answer. The answer is, okay, so the first one looks like a B, right? But then let's see what happens. If I'm flipping all of them. The second one turns out to be 3. It is not a letter at all. It is actually a number. So this is again what they try to do to confuse you, right? So I'm just copying them and flipping them, right? 8, 3, 6, and then you can see some sort of a pattern coming out of this, right? Can you predict what it might be for the answer? I'm guessing this will give us a 7. Right? And this thing, I think all of you will understand that it is giving us a 5. So the answer should be 5, correct, Sheldon. So it will be 836975, and if I just 836975, right? So what looked like a scary question in the beginning was actually very easy, just that we needed to understand the logic behind it. So this is non-verbal reasoning. Okay, all right, let us check out more questions. Next question, shown below is a bookshelf that has a kids adventure novel in a book series of 9 volumes. The spines, basically the edge of the book, binding side of these books contains part of a treasure map. What is the sequence of the books that forms the complete treasure map? Enter a single answer as a 9-digit integer. So similar question, but completely differently framed. So in this case, what do? We know that it is a treasure map and we know it will have 2 sides. So I know that the answer should end with a 3. Right, I know that. It has to happen. Right. Just a second. I'm just going to place this a bit up. Can anybody tell me why I'm ending it at 3? Anybody knows why we are ending it at a 3? And why am I beginning it at a 7? Because we can clearly see that the edges of the maps are very, very visible, right? The edges of the paper on which the map has been drawn. So now I can just follow through with this, that in the next, whatever is next here, I need a dotted line here, a dotted line here, a river here, and maybe the beginning of some mountains here, right? And that I can see, it seems to be like option number 4. What do you guys say? Does option number 4 suit well here? Let me just check. It does, right? Option number 4 sits pretty well. Then what do we need? We need another one which has a river, which has some mountains, and which has only one dotted line connecting. Yep, seems perfectly fine. Then we need one dotted line, a river, maybe mountains, because I don't see any mountains in our given options, but we do need some forests. So I think number 1 would suit us better. What do you guys say? Yep, it seems to join perfectly. Then again, we have a river that is going upwards, a forest that is below, and a dotted line which is somewhere near the center. So I'm just going to try out 9. This also makes sense. Then of course we need a large body of water. What do you guys say? Will it be the ones with the hut, or it should be the one where the huts are starting, right? It can't be the one where the village huts are directly existing. Yes, it could have been number 6 also, but in number 8 you can see that the huts are just starting from here, right? And then you can have a continuation of the village, which will be this, and then of course we will have 5, and then we will have 3. Right? So, and we will end up having 3. So what I'm doing this in Photoshop right now, which I'm trying to explain it to you using Photoshop, this will be very, very easily understandable to you if we practice together. And if you're comfortable with these questions, you will be able to do it in your mind, because of course during the examination you will not be able to use these tools. So practicing it so that you're able to do it in your mind will be a great tool to have in your toolkit. Okay. Another question. Now, this is a question which seems a little mathematical. It seems that you have to write, you have to dive into mathematics immediately. But in these sort of questions where they've given you, this belongs to geometry actually. So if they have given you a question where you need to find out area, but they've asked specifically what fraction of the area of the square is the blue shaded area. You will start thinking, okay, should I start calculating or something like that? But then, sorry, just a second. But then there are some tricks that you can very easily take, which can help you out understanding that you don't need to do so much hard work, right? Smart work is the thing that we will be practicing together, and which will help you out a lot. So if I look at that. Again, what I'm doing in Photoshop, you will be able to do it very easily if you have enough practice, right? So you will not need to worry about these things, like whether you need a tool like Photoshop to do it. And you will see that very conveniently, right? What seemed like very inconvenient, very conveniently it is fitting for us. And look at that. So all of you would very easily be able to tell that it is actually, if I divide it into 4 parts, I can see that it is 1/4 of it, which becomes 2.5 times the area, 0.25 times, because they said that they wanted in a fraction, right? So 1/4 or 0.25 would be the correct answer of the bigger square. Again, seems like a difficult question. It isn't at all. And if you start doing it mathematically, you'll end up wasting time, which is very, very important. Then very common questions that can give you a very good chance of scoring a lot of marks is counting. So there will be questions like, how many right angle triangles do you see in this question? So you will say 1. Just a second. Yeah, you will say, you will say 1, and then maybe 2. But then you have to keep in mind that they've asked for right angled triangles. They've not asked for just triangles. So then you can start counting that this will be 1, this will be 2, this will not be counted, right? This will be 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm sure I'll miss some. 7, right? It will be 8. I'm intentionally not using accurate lines because then it is not shown. 8, then 9. Okay, so we have 9 till here. I might have missed some over here itself. 9. Then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And if you would have been paying attention, you will see that I did not use this bigger triangle. This will be 15. And let me know in the chat box if I missed out any of those triangles, because so we've gotten 15. The correct answer is 18. And just like that, because I'm overwriting it, it becomes like, for example, this one, 16, right? So we know that we have two more triangles to go in this particular case. But if I was doing it in the examination, I would be a little more tidy about it. And then you will be able to count how many. But counting, it seems like a task that takes a lot of time. But when we practice together, yeah, Sundaran, you're correct. It will be 18. But when we practice together, it will become like you will get very comfortable with counting and you will be able to do it very fast, right? So I think I missed out this one, and there'll be one more. So 18 in total. And then come questions like these. A system of gears and belts is shown below. The diameters of the gear, let's not look at the question for now. But if I wanted to ask you guys a question, I would ask you that if this is a tire whose radius is, let's say 14, or let's say 20, or let's say the circumference is 20, and this is a tire whose circumference is 10. So just a second. Circumference is 20, circumference is 10. How many revolutions would tire A require to move 20 feet? 20 feet. And how many revolutions would tire B require to move 20 feet? You will understand that because the circumference is directly half of it, right? Because the circumference of B is almost half of A, B will have to do double the work to cover the same distance. So for B, we would require 2 revolutions. For A, we would require a single revolution, right? This is a relationship that once you know, like once we practice and you get to understand that this relationship you can use very easily in all the questions. So why I told you about this is because the same amount of hard work that this circle is doing, this circle, which is 1/3 of that, will have to do 3 times, right? Because it is 1/3 the size. Because this is double the size of that, I'll just show you. So the diameter. So I'm just going to write them in proportions: 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, and 2, right? And this one, M is rotating at 100. So rotation basically means moving, right? Rotation. So we'll consider it rotation only. So if M is moving 100 rotations, N would need to move for 300 rotations to cover the same distance, right? Like the tires that we just discussed right now. P, because it is double the size of N, will only need half of that, which means P will only need 150 rotations because it is double the size. So it does not need to turn so many times. Q, you would say, sir, N is also 300. N is also size 1. Q is also size 1. That means Q should also rotate 300 times. That is true if they were in contact, but they are not in contact. Q is actually P because Q is directly above P. So Q is not touching N. Q will rotate equal number of times as P. So Q also rotates 150 times, right? And because R is 3 times Q, it will do 1/3 the hard work that Q was doing, which will be 50. And because S is 1.5 times smaller than 50, right? 3, this is 3, this is 2. It is 1.5 times smaller. I'm just going to multiply it by 1.5. And the answer that I will get is 75, which in this case is the correct answer. So I remember people start calculating this in the examination and it takes them a lot of time. But knowing these sort of tips and tricks is very helpful. So again, I tell this to all of you that if you want these types of tricks and tips, it is best to subscribe to the THiNC Institute YouTube channel. You'll keep getting prompts like these. You'll keep getting updated videos, and like you will have a much better understanding, and you'll always have some tools in your toolkit to use in the examination. Okay, so these were the questions that I had hand selected for all of you. But we'll just go through other questions as well. And let me just check out some Uceed seed question papers, because seed and Uceed are somewhat similar, but seed also gives us some very interesting questions that we tend to overlook when we are doing. Just a second. you can just consider seed a part of Uceed because the questions are very similar and they give you some very good tricks that you can use in Uceed questions as well. So in this question, it is asking that I remember I told you guys that there is a topic called shadows. So in this question, it belongs to shadows. Image on the left shows a cylinder kept on top of a tube. Height of the cylinder and side of the cube are equal. Parallel rays of sunlight are falling at an angle of 45 degrees. Which option shows the correct shadow? When I was first doing it, I thought isn't it? That seems like the logical answer. Then I also thought no. The host, if I'm breaking, just let me know. Okay. If I'm not breaking, then let the class continue. Okay. Then I thought that no, this pole is very tall. That means the pole's shadow should be very long, whereas the cube's shadow should not be, like the cylinder shadow should be very long, but the cube's shadow should not be that long. So then I thought it would be A. But in reality, what happens is both of them are of the same length. You might see that both of them are of the same length. That means, and because the rays of the sunlight are parallel, both of them should cast an equal length of shadow. Okay. Now you would say, sir, equal length of shadow, but then how can we do it? What do we do? In that case, you need to understand that the total length of the shadow of the pole should equal to the total length of the shadow of the cube because they are of the same height, right? So the length of the shadow of the pole will not be longer or shorter than that of the cube. Totality of it, because half of the shadow of the pole is done here, right? And half of the rest of the shadow is done here, right? Therefore, what we are left with, the height of the cube and the height of the pole, which should be equal. And therefore, you know that C would be the correct answer. Like that. So there are some confusion that can happen when you attempt it for the first time, but it is best if you practice it more and more. Then there are questions like this. This will come under folding. A printed transparent sticker as shown on the left is applied onto a glass cylinder such that the vertical edges meet. Which of the options is the correct representation? Option C seems very beautiful. Option D seems very beautiful. But if you start looking carefully, you'll understand that look what is happening. This is at a different angle. This is at a different angle. But when you rotate them, like when you make a pipe out of them, a circle out of them, they will be connected, right? But they will not fold into the same sort of an angle. That means this continuous line should not be possible because there are different angles. That means option D is eliminated, right? Another reason, we can see that the blue triangle, right? It is joining here and it is going till the edge of the paper, right? Of the edge of the sticker. But here, what happens? It starts from here and it ends up just here. So you know that Yashmatic, feel free to join our Zoom chat. Okay, there we can help you. Like you can ask the question better, and like you can ask it more clearly, and I'll be able to explain it much better for you. Okay, so now look at option C. Option C, it is just ending here, right here. That means it is ending actually somewhere here, which is not true again. And if you look at option B, again the same thing is happening that happened in option D, that it is going like a smooth line. We know that is not possible. So look what we did here. What we did here was we did not know the correct answer. We ended up eliminating the wrong answers. And that is a very, 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 very good approach you can take in MCQ questions as well as MSQ questions, where when you don't know the correct answer, you eliminate the wrong answers. I know that a straight line is definitely wrong. I know that a small base for this triangle is definitely wrong. And I know that this straight line is also definitely wrong. That means obviously the answer has to be A. Right. So it's sort of a reverse engineering that we can do. Okay. Again, I'm reminding you guys, you can feel free to join the Zoom chat, and there I can clear all your doubts, and I can also take questions that you are having problems with. Then again, this is also part of shadow, so let me not take this one. This will fall under paper folding. So if you look at this question, seems very confusing, but it isn't actually. So what you have to do in this question is they are saying which option will fold into the pack as shown in the given below. as shown in the image given below. Right? You have to see that. All right, I just start naming my designs. Okay, so I know there is a like reverse 7 sort of a thing. I'll just try to find where it is. So I can see that that reverse thing is like this. On the bottom of that reverse thing is this thing, right? But this is coming on top till here. Do you see? It is coming till here, right? Is it coming here in this one? It is not. Below reverse 7, whatever pattern is there, it is not coming till top. That is why we eliminate option B. Okay, let me do the same approach for something else. Again, reverse 7, same concept. Reverse 7, is it coming to the top? No, it is not. A also gets eliminated, right? You guys must have seen that C was the correct option. So just look at C. The 7, reverse 7 is here, and whatever is below it, it is actually superseding. It is permeating into the next surface, and that is why C would be the answer. But we need to be sure that D is not the answer, right? So for now, C seems like the correct answer. Let us try to eliminate D. See, in D also it is coming up, huh? Reverse 7, and it is coming up into the other surface. So how do we eliminate D now? Let us look at something else. Yes, I found it. Is there any shape that looks like this? No, right? There is no shape that looks like this. Am I wrong? No, right? There is no shape in our example, any triangle which looks like this. And therefore we can be pretty confident that the answer would be, see, this is there, right? Which is here. This is there, which is here. The 7 wala is obviously there. 7 wala thing is obviously there, which is here. But if you look at this, if you look at this and if you look at this, they are not similar. And that is how you would know that you were doing something wrong with D. D also gets eliminated. You're only left with C. Right? And that is how you can be a little confident that, okay, my answer C would be correct. So what did I do when I did not know the answer? I just eliminated the wrong answer. Right? And you will find some very, very interesting question like question number 29, like question number 28, like question number 27. But 27 we can quickly do. It is just a mirroring. Shown on the left is a woven mat using threads of 2 colors. The map is flipped the edge Q to reveal the backside. Identify the correct. It is basically very easy, a mirroring of the question. So when you flip it over, you know that 3 triangles should be pointing in one direction, right? Which is not happening here, right? Which is not happening here, which is also not happening here. So we are only left with option D and A, right? And we know now how to be sure that which one is the correct answer. We know that A looks exactly like the option given here, but it is not a flip of that. But when you rotate the map, it should be a flip of that, right? So we know A also will not be the answer. The correct answer would be D. Okay. Yash Matic, and I'm guessing your name is Yash. Yash is asking how to do MSQ questions. Yash, that is what I said. When I try by multiple select questions, Yash means the questions which have more than one correct answer. So that is what I said, Yash. Let me just quickly find some multiple select questions, right? So in that case, again, what I just suggested, you start eliminating the answers that are wrong, right? So for example, I'll end up on this question, but this is a very interesting question, so I'll just end it up here. I know that there is a triangle here, right? Right below the triangle, there is a circle. So the flat part of the triangle is near the circle, and let us just try that out. Flat part of the triangle, circle is there, yes. Next to that, a square is there, yes. Next to that, a circle is there, yes. And next to that, a triangle is there. A seems to be the correct answer, right? Let's look at option B now, right? Triangle, is there a circle at the base of the triangle? Yes, base of the triangle, and circle, yes, it is there. Is there a square? Is there a square? Right? The square is not there in B, because if there was a square, it would have looked like this. It is actually a diamond here, which means it will be something like this, which means B is not settling here, right? So we eliminate the wrong answer. Similarly, as people on YouTube chat are saying, Omkar is saying that A and D should be the correct answer. Yes, same thing here. Triangle, Base of the triangle circle is there. Yes, it is there. And next to the circle, what is there? A diamond is there, right? But we need a square. We don't need a diamond. Therefore, we know that the C will also be the wrong answer. And if you just check once again, you know that D is the correct answer. So yes, MSQ questions will be best when you start eliminating the wrong answers. Okay, I hope that tip helps you. Again, if anybody has any doubts, they can join the Zoom link. And I think this was a good enough example of how different types of questions can come and how they try to trick you. They will try to trick you a lot. Huh? Seed and Uceed are very, they like tricking their students a lot. That is what they're trying to see, like whether they're able to solve, they're able to use, whether they're able to observe things very carefully or not. And then all these questions will be very interesting, right? But I hope to see you guys in classes that we will be having over the next 1 month. And Suraj, I'll hand over the session back to you. And thank you guys.
Okay.
See you soon.
Okay.
Do you want me to entertain these questions?
Yeah, sure. So please go ahead.
So Samriddhi is asking, sir, how to approach the graph question, and sir, what is the minimum marks we need to get in? Yes, there are no minimum marks that you need to get in. It will be comparative, but I think the coordinators of the institute will be better able to inform you after my session. Samriddhi is asking how to approach graph questions. Samriddhi, I have the same problems that you have regarding graph questions, and very slowly over time, I was able to somehow get like how to do those questions. The only answer in this case is practice, and you will need a lot of practice with graph questions, because graph questions, as I said, was problematic for me also. But once you start doing them again and again, you get a hang of it. So all these questions at one point of time, they scared me also, right? But once I started doing them, solving question papers again and again, solving them, trying to understand every question paper, these questions started becoming easy, right? So don't worry about it. Just practicing a lot, and constant practice will be the answer to your question. Whatever scares you the most, you practice more of that. Any ideas are like by the previous year exams? I think the host will be able to answer it better, Yash. So I will hand it over to Suraj now.
Okay. So I guess, Yesh, most of the other questions that you had asked were already sorted out. Now, basically, see, Uceed has a qualifying marks. So if you get a rank based on that. About getting into IIT, that basically depends. So there's a formula for calculating the qualifying marks, and also in 2021 for open category students, it was somewhere around 68. And I guess in 2022, it was somewhere around 80 or 82. That was the marks. Okay, so there isn't any sure shot marks which if you get, you will be able to get into IIT like that. Okay, if you want to know the last time details and things like that, you can WhatsApp us and we'll give you the details. Okay, so I guess yes, everyone who's joined the live chat box, Yesh, Shweta, Samriddhi, I think everyone's questions have been answered. Okay, so Thakur has asked, sir, what's the best score to get rank in NATA and JEE paper 2? Okay, let's keep this discussion for Uceed. Thakur, if you have doubts, you can WhatsApp us at the number that's given here. Okay, 8086111933. So I hope this session was useful for everyone. Okay, if you find it interesting, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Okay, and we have our new batches for NID NIFT Uceed about 23rd. Yes, we'll be starting from 23rd onwards. We're both online and also hybrid. So if there are any questions regarding that, you can contact us at those numbers. Okay, we would be coming up with further live sessions, and we've already done a few sessions on arithmetic aptitude and current affairs also. So if you want the material for that, if you want questions for that so that you can practice or not, you can WhatsApp us at this number 808611. 933. Okay, yes, we do have. Okay, there's a question, does THiNC provide mock series for Uceed online? Yes, there is, Samriddhi, there is. So you can contact us at this number. Okay, 808611 933. Okay, so I guess that's it. We have answered almost all the questions of students who've asked questions, not just in YouTube, but also in live chat box. I think that would be it. And before we wind up, Chaitanya sir, thanks a lot for your session also.
Thank you so much. I hope to see many of you in the sessions that we do in the future. Thank you, Suraj.
Okay, thank you, sir. Omkar says, sir, I'm preparing from last 23, still not confident what to do for the next 37 days. Okay, so if you want a brief plan, or if you want a brief schedule of what are the possible things that you could do in the last 1 month? Because I think there are, as you said, 37 days, right? It's on the 22nd of January. So you can just ping us there. We'll give you some brief ideas, some brief pointers on what are the things that usually students do. So you can look at that and decide by yourselves. It's always better if you custom make a plan with respect to your routine and things like that, Omkar. Okay, so I guess I've answered most of the questions. Thank you, everyone. If there are any further questions, please do not hesitate. You can post it below this YouTube chat, below this particular video, or you can also contact us at the number that's given, 8086111933. So thank you, sir, once again. Thank you, host. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Until we see in this next session, thank you, everyone.